Okay, welcome to the JP8 Report. This is James Pierce with the JP8 Report, episode 287. All right, guys. Like I said, it's been a wild day, and now I got this cat howling in the background. Alrighty. So it all started yesterday at 4 o'clock, 4:02 to be exact. T-Fiber lost either something in a tower or a fiber got cut or a combination thereof. And what turned out to be a little outage lasted until 12:45. While they were saying it'd be a few hours here, a few hours there, early in the morning, mid-morning, 10 o'clock, and then nothing else after that. And I just said, okay. And then if you had to happen to notice, a couple hours ago, about 4 hours ago, about 3.5 hours ago, I decided to try doing the JPA report on this guy, my cell phone, right? I need training because that was an utter failure. It lasted like a couple minutes. I never saw myself, and I went back and replayed it. That was on Rumble, and it was gone. I mean, there was no voice. It was blank, everything. So I gave up. I'm like, well, it looks like I'm not going to get to do this today. And about 12:45, I just sat down with a bowl of ramen noodles, resigned to the fact I'm not going to do a podcast today. And all of a sudden, everything started whistling and loading up again, like, what in the world just happened? And I looked over at my router, and it had a white light instead of a red light. That meant everything was up and going again. So, and then I had to take my car in for my wife because the lights weren't aligned right, because we just noticed it. So that took about 45 minutes, and I got back in just in time where I could do this. And lo and behold, I scheduled the stream to start at 3, and it said I didn't. But I was already kicking on Rumble, so I had to refresh and reschedule, and that's why I was a little bit late. Okay, so that was great. That was awesome. So I'm having a fun time today already. All right, well, welcome to the JPA Report. If your life is full of excitement like mine, please click that follow button, okay? And then click that like button. It's a thumbs up. And I'm live on YouTube and X, on Facebook. Please give me a like on it also, please. And then subscribe if you already haven't on those avenues, all right? So there was just a few things. I may not make it a whole hour today. I don't know. I don't think I will. I just threw some stuff together because while I was building my podcast to go on my cell phone, I couldn't print in my house because everything's connected to the Wi-Fi. So I was out for the count. I was gone, right? So bear with me, all right? So America 250. I got two things on America 250 for the day. They're just simple ones. There was just like today, 250 years ago, major snowstorms is up there in the Northeast. It out of nowhere struck Quebec City on the eve of a major attack against Quebec City, Continental Army forces against British forces, right? And the attack is scheduled to begin tonight at midnight, right? Just after midnight, they're supposed to attack Quebec City, and there's this major snowstorm in the area, right? So that, and then General Washington issued orders allowing free black men to enlist into the army, all right? If you ever saw the movie The Patriot, they alluded to that fact in there also, all right? So those are two things that happened on December 30th, 1775. All right. So the Dalmatian. Okay, we got the Dalmatian burgers. If you're hungry, you have to wait till 5:30. That's when they open back up. but they're homemade smash burgers and dogs right here in Copper's Cove. All their ingredients are homemade, including their buns. They're open from 11 to 2 and 5:30 to 7, unless they sell out, Tuesday through Saturday. I don't know if they're open up on New Year's Day, but I guess I can try to find out. And they're located at Town Square behind Bushes on the west side of Copper's Cove. If you're in the area, give them a try. They sell out a lot, so you got to be fast. You got to be Johnny on the spot. All right, so we're marching on to the JP8 report. Here we go. The first thing I wanted to read and talk about just for a minute is, remember a couple years ago, there was the Nashville school shooter in that private Christian school, and the Nashville police won't release anything about what's happening and stuff. Really? Y'all hear that cat? She's lonely. All right, so there was the shooter. They would not release her manifest or anything else. They said it was too private, and they didn't want to give any suggestions out to people and stuff. Well, this was this came out yesterday evening. Please, I need to get a squirt gun or a Nerf gun. Okay. Newly released FBI records connected the Covenant school shooting in Nashville to include writings made by shooter Audrey Elizabeth Hale that shed further light on her motivations, planning, and personal finances. The FBI released more than 100 pages of Hale's writings following litigation, which include journal entries believed to date back to late 2021, handwritten notes outlining her preparations for a school shooting, and references to weapons Hale intended to acquire. Some of her writings list Christian school hate religion as a reason for targeting the Covenant school. See, another shooting based on hatred of Christians. Hale, 28, carried out the March 27, 2023 attack at the Christian elementary school she once attended, killing 6 people before being shot dead by responding Metro Nashville Police Department officers. The victims, identified school members, were Catherine Coens, Cynthia Peak, Mike Hill, along with students Hallie Scruggs, Evelyn Deekhouse, and William Kinney. He was only age 9. All the kids were age 9. Surveillance footage released by police showing the attack showed Hale moving through the school armed with multiple firearms. I'm getting to the point where I want you to hear this. Authorities have said Hale entered the building through a side entrance and moved through several areas of the school before being confronted by officers. Shortly before the shooting, Hale sent a text message to a friend describing the attack as a planned suicide mission. Why didn't she notify police? And stating, the friend would likely hear about me in the news after I die, according to summaries by the officials. Among newly released FBI materials is a handwritten page seen by Fox News and labeled Account Savings Record and reference Federal Student Aid. In the entry, Hale wrote FAFSA grant check starting at $2,050.86, followed by a ledger notes documenting payments to Nassau College Art and Design in Nashville, where Hale was enrolled at the time. The financial entries appear alongside extensive notes about firearms Hale planned to purchase and use in the attack. The Tennessee Star also reported those records lend support to statements Hale's parents made a Metro Nashville Police Department detectives shortly after the shooting. Hale's parents told investigators in 2023 that their child had used federal Pell Grant money to purchase the firearms used in the attack. Hale's mother also reportedly told police that because Hale was over 25 and enrolled as a student, parental income no longer factored into financial aid eligibility, which is true, allowing Hale to qualify for grant funding despite being unemployed. Metro Nashville Police John Drake previously confirmed that investigators recovered a manifesto and hand-drawn maps from Hale's vehicle following the shooting. While portions of her writings have been since released, both city police and FBI have continued to resist public records requests for the full manifesto. Okay, so money that was supposed to be used for, and my daughter was telling me this last night, financial aid is supposed to go directly to the college. So why was she receiving federal aid money straight to her to pay for her college? That's one thing I don't understand. If you understand that, please let me know in the chat, because that's a really, really good question. How this young lady was able to get direct funds from the federal government, from the education department for a Pell Grant to pay for college, and she got cash payment or check payment, right? Why didn't her friend, when she received that text message, notify the police? And why were her parents allowing her to buy weapons with Pell Grant money? Questions that need to be. I fully support the Second Amendment, but that looks like there's misappropriation of funds that were meant for college that was being used for other purposes. My only thing I could think of is that the colleges she was going to didn't have a direct link to the federal government, since most art institutes are for-profit institutions. So that might be the reason why they were sending the money directly to her to do that, so they could buy supplies and stuff for the art institute. I don't know. No one's told anything to me yet, so I figure that's the way it is. Okay, so the next thing. This is about the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota. Her name is Peggy Flanagan. She is a Catholic, and she's a member of the Chippewa tribe, which is really called the White Earth Band of Ojibwe, or Chippewa. All right. So this all started with Nick Shirley and his stuff, and I guess she wanted to build up support in the Somali population, right? But remember, I told you she's a Catholic, right? So, is this how a Catholic dresses? I'm hearing crickets. I don't think a Catholic dresses like that. That is a hijab, dress for female members of the Muslim religion. Show you again. See the lady on the right? She's wearing a hijab. The guy on the left isn't, because men are treated different. But this woman is the Lieutenant Governor of Minnesota, wearing a hijab, pretending to be a Muslim, trying to get Somalis to vote for her for the United States Senate, because Miss Flanagan is a candidate to the United States Senate. Yes, she is. She's, what is it called? Patterning to the left, to get votes, believing a lie, because she's definitely not a Muslim, and she's betraying her religion because she's Catholic, and she's betraying her Native American tribe, because I do believe the vast majority of Native Americans are definitely not Catholic. I mean, not Muslim. All right, and in the Chippewa tribe in Minnesota is the 11th largest tribe in Minnesota. All right, so, and that was part of a video that was shown on Somali TV of Minnesota or Minneapolis, right? That's where you can go. That was on Fox News. I'm going to read the article to you. I got breaking news. Hold on. Abril Garcia prosecuted criminally only after mistaken deportation. Judge rules, whatever that means. I do not know what that means, but that's the guy that's been. He's from El Salvador. Didn't want to go to El Salvador, and they try to deport him in different areas and stuff. But I don't know what that means. There's nothing on there. Okay, we'll get to that later. All right. So Minnesota Republican senatorial candidate David Hahn is calling for one of his potential Democrat opponents to apologize after a video showing her wearing a hijab and supporting the Somali community admits a massive fraud scandal went viral on social media. It's emblematic of the way she and other Democrat politicians in Minnesota have behaved over the past decade or so. They're very political, said former Senator David Hahn, who is running for Senate in the Republican primary. He said that of Lieutenant Governor Peggy Finnegan's a video wearing a hijab and defending Somali community amid a massive fraud scandal that has rocked Minnesota over the past several years. They're just pandering for political constituencies, and they're not doing the job that they are elected to do. In the video, which is highly criticized by conservatives on social media last week, Flanagan can be seen donning hijab while talking to some Somali constituents. Hold on just a second. Okay, hopefully I dealt with that to a point. So she said Salam Alaikum in the video, giving the Arabic greeting before saying the Somali community is part of the fabric of the state of Minnesota. I'm here shopping today, and just encouraging other folks to show up, support our Somali businesses, support our immigrant neighbors. And I know things are scary right now. Being part of Minnesota and growing up here, the Somali community has always been part of my Minnesota, Flanagan added, while telling residents to show up and show support as Somali businesses and our immigrant neighbors. We've got your back, Flanagan said. How about the $9 billion a lot of y'all stole from Americans to support the Somali community? Just look at the Nick Shirley's YouTube video he put up. Right? All right. There's been several calls from a lot of Republicans calling on Tim Walz to resign because of everything that's been shown over the last few days. That young man, Nick Shirley, did an amazing job, what other journalists are afraid to do because they're afraid to poke the bear. Let's put it like that. Because they're part of the liberal media and they're not supposed to go against the liberals, right? But the FBI and HSI, uh, Homeland Security investigators are continuing to investigate, and they'll get to the end of it. We'll see. But that I wanted to show you all that stuff because that lady is running to be a United States senator, and she is living a lie because she is not a Muslim and she's wearing a hijab. All right. Uh, Next, I was telling y'all yesterday about the Iranians, and like there's the Iranian people should rise up and overthrow their government. That's what I was saying. And last night, and I did not know about this until after the podcast, so don't say James already knew about it, okay? I'm not that much in the know. All right, hold on. And my voice is 100% better than it was yesterday. So Dateline, Fox News, anti-Iran regime protests grow across the country as Trump admin boosts demonstrators offering support. Protests spread across Iran on Tuesday after President Donald Trump and other administrative officials voiced support for demonstrators. Speaking Monday, Trump pointed to Iran's economic collapse and long-standing public discontent while stopping short of calling for regime change. Inside Iran, demonstrations entered a third consecutive day, expanding beyond the capital's commercial center. The exiled opposition coalition, National Coalition for the Resistance of Iran, never heard of them, reported widespread strikes and student protests across Tehran and multiple provincial cities, describing clashes with security forces and anti-government chants. A video obtained by the NCRI appears to show protesters pushing back against security forces, forcing them to leave the scene on Tehran's Johuri Street. Iran International reported that universities emerged as major protest hubs with rallies at Tehran University, Sharif University of Technology, and Khalid Beheshti University, O Sanat University, and Najah Nasir University. Security forces tighten entry controls at campuses and reinforce offices linked to Supreme Leader Ali Khamenei. So, with that being said, why is it just widespread strikes and student protests? If you want to have a revolution, of an overthrow of the government, you have to get everybody involved. You have to get the old involved and the religious people involved in Iran. That ain't happening. Like Dan Bongino used to say before he went to the FBI, is it bad enough yet? Right? Are you sick and tired of it? But is it bad enough yet? Because until it gets bad enough, they're not going to do anything. One thing that's leading to that point right now is that the inflation for the month of December in Iran, 52.6%. And in the annual inflation rate, year over end, came in at 42.2%. Could you imagine 42% inflation in the United States? What the government would look like if just 1 month inflation jumped to 52%. Remember that 1 month we had 9.2 and we about blew everything away because prices were so sky high, and that was at 9.2. Could you imagine it coming in at 52.6%? That's where the Iranian government has a problem right now, because when the prices get that high, how are you going to feed your family? how are you going to feed your family? This is the chance they have to start over. But they have to do it. They can't wait. They can't wait because the Revolutionary Guard, Revolutionary Guard Corps, RGC, the Holy Police. Okay, that's a better word for them. They'll put the foot down and end the protest, and you have to act before they can do that. If you can get some of them to cross over, that's what you're looking for. But until then, but they have to do stuff, right? They have to redo it. But that's what I wanted to talk about with Iran. See, I when I put the podcast together, I did it fast, and I had to go back and find the documents with it because I couldn't even print. So I was reading them, and I had to try to memorize them. I was taking notes and stuff. But, man, 52.6%. Man, that's crazy. Is there anything else? No. Okay, that's enough. Okay, next. Judge orders redacted transcript and audio from October. The judge in Utah is ordered the redacted transcript, unredacted, and the video published from an October court hearing in which I think his name is Tyler Robinson. He's the guy that murdered Charlie Kirk. And it's to be made public as soon as possible. That came out during the podcast yesterday at the very end of it. And we got to go back and hear the rest of what was going on. And by March, he said that he will have a ruling on whether that to allow cameras in the courtroom during the court case, right, when it goes to trial. And Erica Kirk says she supports having cameras in the courtroom to show the public what this guy did to her husband, right? I agree, totally. Next, lawyers for the J6 bomber. They're trying to get the judge to suppress his confession that he made when he was arrested. He spoke, I believe, for about 4 hours. And hold on just a second. I'm going to go mute. She actually went quiet. All right, I'm back. He said that during the interrogation with the police that he was disenfranchised by both political parties, both Democrat and Republican, and that's why he placed those pipe bombs in the areas where he put them at back in 2021 on the night of January 5th. Oh, great. They're making a mess. Okay. But yeah, so Brian Cole Jr.'s lawyers are trying to suppress that confession. All right. All right. So this is another big one. Did y'all hear about what Scott Turner, the Sec HUD, discovered with his cabinet? They discovered $5.8 billion in questionable rental assistance under the Biden administration, and it was uncovered in 2024. All right. There was 30,000 deceased people and thousands of non-citizens. There was a 183-page report showing that 29,715 people were dead and 9,472 people were non-citizens, and 165,393 were made too much money to receive assistance through Section 8 and Section 9 housing, right? So, this came from Fox News also. A report by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development, HUD, right, recently revealed billions in taxpayer funds that went to questionable rental assistance recipients under former President Joe Biden. The recipients include approximately 30,000 deceased tenants and thousands of potential non-citizens, according to a copy of the HUD's agency financial report for the fiscal year 2025, which ended in October, obtained by the New York Post. HUD officials told the Post that a large concentration of funds went to New York, California, and Washington, D.C., with deceased recipients getting funds in all 50 states. The department conducted an automation that compared the U.S. Treasury database to HUD's records. The process uncovered 30,054 deceased tenants who were either actively enrolled in rental assistance programs or had received assistance after they passed, according to the HUD report. The department found the possibility problematic payments through its own internal financial review and analytics, according to the report. A massive abuse of taxpayer dollars, yes, not only occurred under President Biden's watch, but it was effectively incentivized by his administration's failure to implement strong financial controls, resulting in billions worth of improper payments, HUD Secretary Scott Turner said. HUD will continue investigating the shocking results and will take appropriate action to hold back actors accountable. He said, additionally, the department is advancing efforts made under President Trump's first administration to strengthen programs' integrity and ensure taxpayer-funded assistance serves the vulnerable communities it is intended for. And then in FY 2024, HUD distributed about $50 billion in federal rental assistance to non-federal entities, including $5.8 billion of what the report describes as questionable payments. HUD pointed the finger at the Biden administration for a directive to push funding out the door with minimum oversight. In the report, HUD alleges the Biden administration failed to provide the department with the tools needed to verify whether entities were enforcing the intricate rules governing rental assistance. The report also noted that HUD rental assistance programs place substantial trust and responsibility in non-federal entities receiving the funds. That'd be nonprofits. HUD must now confirm whether fraud occurred and the extent of it before it can determine whether funding should be paused or revoked, or if criminal referrals are necessary. The HUD is implementing a process and procedures to revoke or pause funding as part of the efforts to hold the bad actors accountable, and official told the Post. Additionally, the department could make criminal referrals and exercise other enforcement actions once it has confirmed fraud occurred. Here we go. Just like I was talking about yesterday with Minnesota. It happened in Minnesota. It's happening in New York. It's happening in D.C. It's happening in Los Angeles. This is crazy. The Democrats have figured a way to push money out, to get votes, and to fund their campaigns. That's all this stuff is. and they got caught red-handed by the people that actually tried to do stuff. Now the question is, can they get a grand jury to indict, and then can they find a jury to convict? That's what that needs to happen. All right, hold on, let me get a drink real quick. All right. So, in one of the last things I came across, so I think I will finish way before an hour today. That's all right. I'll try to make up for it tomorrow. So, a judge ruled today that Medicaid data for immigrants can be transferred over to ICE. Another legal victory for President Trump, right? So, this is an overview of it. A federal judge recently ruled that the Trump administration can share limited Medicaid data, named addresses, birth dates, with ICE, the Immigration and Customs Enforcement, allowing ICE to use basic info for enforcing immigration laws. Hold on. Okay. Let's see. Allowing ICE to use basic info for enforcing immigration laws, but not sensitive health records, because HIPAA, right? Overturning a previous block in a case challenged by 20 states who feared it would deter care. This allows the Department of Health and Human Services to provide ICE with biographical, and location data, but a preliminary injunction remains for more sensitive information. And then the key details, right, are so basic data like names, addresses, phone numbers, date of birth, and immigration details can be shared. What can't be shared for now is sensitive information for personal health records and broader data beyond the basics. And it was a suit brought by 20 Democrat attorneys generals from states like California and Washington. And then why did they sue? It was to protect immigrant privacy and prevent chilling effects on seeking medical care. U.S. Judge Vince Shabria found that sharing basic information is permitted by law, but agencies must clearly explain decisions for broader data sharing. And this is the ruling allows data sharing to resume on potentially sharing starting on January 6th from the court ruling from the judge. Okay, in simple terms, ICE can get basic contact info from Medicaid rolls to find people in the country illegally, but they can't access detailed medical histories for that purpose under this ruling, a compromise from the administration's broader request. Okay, got it. 10 bags full. All right, so chalk up another victory for the president. This looks like it came from federal district court instead of an appeals court, and it doesn't say if those attorneys general are going to appeal it or not. All right, so next on the JP8 report is to remind people, especially here in Texas, it's only 63 days. We're 2 months away from our March 3rd primary. That is really early. And then the deadline to register to vote is February 2nd. And always be on the lookout, okay? So in this period of early voting, because early voting, I believe, starts on February 21st, I believe, okay? Don't hold me that. Look it up, right? Yeah, I think it's February 21st. So be on the lookout for forums, debates, campaign events like with us. Oh no, early voting is not the first. I think it's the 23rd, but because we have a Lincoln Reagan dinner in Gatesville for the Coriel County Republican Party, we have that on February 21st because Lieutenant Governor Dan Patrick is going to be there, and then early voting starts 2 days after that. All right, and then I have a forum, an impromptu forum for whoever shows up on January 13th. Any Republican that shows up that has voters there can speak up to 5 minutes. So I'm going to allow that as most latitude as possible, but 5 minutes for each one of them. So thank you all very much for showing up today. I'm going to quickly show you all my, there we go, my socials, the way to get a hold of me. I'm on X, Facebook, YouTube, and Truth. All right. And you can send me an email at jp8report@gmail.com. All right. Thanks for being patient with me today. I appreciate that. I'm trying to get to something on my slide deck. Hold on, Jess. I think I'm going to get a good night's rest tonight. All right. So, but I guess this thing is not going to. See, it won't end. Come on. Come on, come on, come on. There we go. Stop. All right. So before I leave, would you want that person that's living a lie be a member of the United States Senate? Hope not. Vote for Mr. Hahn for the United States Senate. Don't vote for Ms. Flanagan, all right? Because she's living a lie. Look at the look on that one Somali lady. Like, really? You're wearing a hijab? I'm forced to wear mine, and you're volunteering wearing one and smiling at the same time. Yeah. Wonder what Ms. Flanagan's husband is talking about, because I see a wedding ring on her, right? About her wearing, because if she's Catholic, he's Catholic, and that she's wearing that hijab. I don't know. Wow. That's just crazy stuff to think about. Things that make you go, right? I can't remember what song that came from. But, all right. So, no questions, no comments, no concerns. I'm still going to do a podcast tomorrow. I'm going to do America 250 for Wednesday and Thursday. Because I'm going to do a podcast on the 2nd of January. Ringing the new year quick, right? On January 2nd, not January 1st. So, all right. So this is James Pierce at JP8 Report. It'll be a better podcast tomorrow because my internet's up and running. So I will catch you on the flip side. I'm out.